Are you heading out of town but want to keep your eBay store running? This week, we're sharing the do's and don'ts of eBay's away mode. Plus, we're going to share what sold the week of January 5th through 11th. Let's get started. Okay, so all of the sales from this week, with maybe the exception of like a few at the very end, were from when we were out of town. We were on a cruise ship for like 7 days, plus we were out of town, before and after the getting on,
a little buffer.
doing the embarkation and stuff for a couple days before and after. So everything that we sold during this time was while our store was on away mode. So we want to share with you guys some of the ways that we do our away mode on specifically eBay. We'll also share with you guys how it works on some of the other platforms. But our sales were definitely down. Away mode affects your sales for sure.
It's bad.
Anyway, if you guys did not see last week's video, there was an incident that occurred while we were on away mode that has resulted in a defect on our account. Definitely check that video out. And if you're interested in seeing some of our vacation footage, we included that in last week's video too. All right, so the very first thing that we sold this week was a vintage lot of 15 metal contour snap style barrettes. And I think all of these were goodie, but I don't know that I could prove for sure that all of them were goodie. I do know that the polka dot ones were definitely goodie. And vintage goodie will definitely sell, so be on the lookout for anything that's marked as such. We got these at a garage sale in a big bag of vintage hair accessories. I think I paid $1 for the bag and I split it up into 4 lots. These sold for $18.99 and I have this on my spreadsheet for 25 cents. Next up was a pair of Pilcrow. These are Anthropology.
So lots of Pilcrow.
Yeah, I think it's a more popular one of them.
Maybe it's just we recognize the name and pick it up.
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, when I find Pilcrow, it's always in a smaller size. I don't know if that's just what I've found or what the deal is with that. But every time I find,
their thing.
No, I don't think that's their thing necessarily. For some reason, that's always when I find it, it's always in a small size, which I think makes it sell even. I think it would sell even better if it was in a larger size. Yeah,
probably.
So this was a pair of side stripe embroidered jeans. We found these in the South Austin Goodwill bins for $1.03, and they sold for $27. Next up was a vintage Tuscan lambskin fur cap. It was made in Italy, and we got that at a garage sale for $1. It sold for $49.05.
That's good.
Next up was a 2002 Schleich donkey. Kevin found that in the Waco Goodwill bins for 87 cents.
San Antonio.
Oh, San Antonio. You're right. San Antonio. For some reason, I always get those two confused.
I know. I do too.
I don't know why. I guess because they were both kind of small. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we paid 87 cents for that, and it sold for $10. Next up was a pair of Asics Gel Rocket women's volleyball shoes. We got these at one of the Houston Goodwill bins for $1.73, and they sold for $29.99. Next up was a lot of 8 Funko Pocket Pop Advent Calendar The Office minifigures. It was not the complete set. It was just 8 of them. And those came from a thrift store toy bag for 26 cents, and they sold for $14.
Back when you could get toy bags.
Yep. Yeah. Next up was a lot of 2 Time and True women's purple and wine colored pull-on stretch jeggings. These were gifted to us and they sold for $16. Next up was a Bible from 2000 and it was gilded. This was gifted to us and it sold for $14.99. And next up was a men's Herald's necktie that was marked with Oklahoma University crusts. We got this at a garage sale for $2.50 and it sold for $18.99.
Was that one from across the street?
Maybe.
Because I think that's the only place we bought ties.
I think so,
other than the
yeah.
bands.
It's weird. I don't remember buying a tie anywhere.
That garage sale across the street we're talking about all the time that we sold a bunch of stuff
we got
a couple weeks ago. We got
ties.
So much stuff and so many ties.
Yeah.
But I think that one was
for some reason, I think you're right. All right, next up was a 1993-94 Fleer XL All-Stars baseball card for the player James
Mouton.
Mouton? Okay, so that was Kevin's and it sold for $2.29. So like we mentioned, we recently went on a cruise vacation. It was quite lovely and we escaped the cold weather. And when we went on the cruise, we put our eBay store on away mode. And if you've never done that or you don't know how that works, eBay has a lot more flexibility than some of the other apps. They actually call it time away mode. Okay, so I'm going to navigate to the screen where you can find the time away mode, and that's under store. And then at the very bottom, you see it says time away. You click on that, and then it brings you to this screen. And you can go to edit time away. See, we currently have none scheduled. And then eBay gives you two different options. You can either pause sales for up to 30 days, but if you don't want to completely put your store on hold, if you want to continue making sales, they also have this option, which is down here at the bottom, that is allow sales for up to 15 days. Now, if you're going to be on vacation for more than 15 days, that isn't really an option. You have to actually pause your sales. But since we were only gone for like 10 days, this is the option that we selected. And then it allows you to go in here and select a date. I usually choose the date before we're going to leave as the start date to give us a little bit of buffer just in case there's a payment issue or something and we sell an item and it doesn't get paid for a few hours. You don't want to have it come right up on the point where you're about to leave and then start your away mode. You definitely want to have a little bit of a buffer there. And then, you select the end date and time as well. So what happens when you activate that is buyers will then see a message at the top of every single one of your listings that states...
It's like a banner.
Yeah, a banner at the top of your listing. This seller is currently away and there may be a delay in processing your order. You can still buy this item, but there may be a delay in processing your order. And then depending on how, when you're arriving back, when your end date of your time away is, it will adjust the shipment date of the item or the buyer's expected receipt date of the item accordingly to incorporate your time away into that. So like normally, if the buyer would have gotten the item in 5 days and then you're going to be gone for 10 days on top of that, it will adjust the buyer's expected date to receive the item to 15 days. So that's how that works. However, I would like to say that you cannot count on a buyer to even notice that banner, and you definitely cannot...
Half the time they don't read the title.
Yes.
So
true.
Don't expect them to read the banner.
And you definitely cannot count on a buyer to notice what the expected shipment or date of expected delivery is.
No.
Like they'll just get frustrated that they haven't gotten the item yet. So one way that we mitigate that...
Want, buy, click.
Yeah.
That's all they saw.
Exactly. And honestly, I can somewhat understand that from a buyer's perspective because I did recently buy something on eBay, and even though there was a flaw on the item that was clearly pictured, I just missed it completely. I didn't complain to the buyer or anything because even though they described it as excellent used condition, that flaw was very clearly pictured and I just missed it. So I do understand how it can be possible for buyers to miss stuff like that, but in order to mitigate any issues, we suggest several things.
But like the ship date thing, I order things on Amazon, quite like household stuff. And if I buy something on Amazon and it'll show you what day you're going to get it. Yeah. And I always look at that. And if it says it's going to be 4 weeks and I need it before then, I'll just delete that on my cart and buy one that's going to be there. Who doesn't look at when it's supposed to be there? A lot of
people, they don't look.
I don't understand that. I want to know when I'm going to get it, to plan when I'm going to get it.
No, I agree.
But maybe we're more organized than most people.
I'm just saying I don't know. Most people will not look at that. So there are ways that you can mitigate that, even though sometimes that doesn't even work. But before we move on to how we mitigate that, I do want to point out this other option that is available within the time away section, and that is sending an automatic message. So if a buyer reaches out to you with a question about an item, they say, what's the waist measurement of these pants or something, even though it's clearly listed in your item details, they will get an automatic response back from you that says whatever you want it to say. And in our case, the last one that I had typed out, I guess, said, thanks for reaching out. Please note that we're away and we'll respond to your message on so-and-so date. And then, I just have a little signature. And then you can select a start date and an end date for that. The only time they get a message from you, though, is if they've initiated a message. This message doesn't go out to them if they purchase an item. Oh. And unfortunately, there's not a way to have a message go out to every buyer that purchased an item. So one thing I do is every time we sell something when we're on vacation, I can never unplug completely when we're on vacation if we have our store in away mode that's still allowing sales, because when a sale comes in, I always send the same message to every buyer who buys something. And that message... You should,
if you're going to do away mode, just make this your default action.
Yes.
If you sell something on your away mode for your own safety,
yes,
just send them this message. You can even copy the message we're giving you word for word. We don't care. Just send them a message so that they know again that they're not supposed to get it. Because if they didn't get it the first time, normally they get it the second time.
So as soon as somebody purchases something, within the first 24 hours of them purchasing, I send them a message that says, hi there, and thanks for your purchase. As a reminder, and per the note on the listing, we are away and your item will be processed for shipping on January 19th when we return, or whatever date. If you prefer to cancel, just reach out and we'll be happy to assist. Thanks for your patience. I always make sure to note that it was noted on the listing so they can't, get all about that. And then I also make sure that I indicate exactly when the item is going to ship. And then I also always give them an out. If they want to cancel, I'd rather know about it up front and cancel it rather than have an issue later on down the road. I'd always rather cancel immediately than have a buyer try to return an item or leave negative feedback. That's always my preference. And I would say 50% of the time we get a response back from a buyer that says, no problem, I saw that.
Thanks for letting me know.
But thanks for reaching out to me.
Or I saw that.
Yes, or it's not a problem. I saw your note or something like that. Sometimes we'll get a message from a buyer. I did get it one time on our vacation that said, I wasn't aware of that and that's going to take too long. Please cancel.
Yeah, but it's actually pretty rare that they cancel.
But I was much happier to know about that ahead of time than to have an unhappy buyer down the road. Right.
So.
But if you did not see last week's video, we did have a buyer, despite me sending this message, that still did not see it and got frustrated. And after we had shipped the item, once we got back, then reached out to me and told me to cancel it. So check out last week's What Sold video if you want to get more information on that. Sometimes you just can't please people. Yeah. But that's the best way to mitigate any issues while on away mode. And
we've done it many times successfully now, so we know this system works.
Yes, definitely. So the other thing that some people do in eBay, rather than turning on time away, is they just change their handling time. So if they're going to be gone for 5 days, they adjust their handling time to 5 days. I don't like that option as much because it does not include the message at the top of every listing indicating that you're away and indicating that there's going to be a delay.
They're just kind of finding out at the end, or if they see the shipping.
Right. Yeah. I think it's better to use the time away feature personally. But if you know of a reason why one option is better than another, or if you prefer to do the handling option over the time away option, let us know in the comments below why and why you find that method to be better, because maybe there's something that I am not aware of with that.
We've found eBay to be very, I don't know if you'd call it finicky or glitchy or whatever. If you talk to eBay about anything, ever, like even if you send them a simple message to customer service, our account slows down to almost nothing or nothing.
That's true.
For at least 2 or 3 days after that. And it's happened 100% of the time. So at first it's like, oh, coincidence. It's too many times to be a coincidence.
Yeah.
So maybe if you do the handling time way, it doesn't slow your store down.
Maybe.
Whereas the away mode, they're kind of like not letting people see your stuff.
That's possible.
And the other one just kind of keeps you going, just like you never went away. It just adds the handling.
Yes.
That's my guess, would be the only benefit.
That's true. So that's how we handle any time away on eBay. There is one other super duper important thing to note about time away, and that is...
You need it.
You do need time away. It's very important. No, but any seller-initiated offers
don't count.
They don't count. If you send a seller-initiated offer, meaning when you get the option to send an offer to a buyer and you send them an offer for 5% off, 10%
while your
off,
away mode's on.
If you do it while away mode is on, eBay does not take any of your time away settings into account, and the buyer will see the normal handling time.
And then you're going to get in trouble.
They won't get the message, and then you will get a defect on your account because eBay will see that item as late. If you're initiating an offer, eBay thinks business is back to normal, business as usual. So while we're on away mode, we never send any seller-initiated offers.
Do not send offers while you're away.
You can accept buyer-initiated offers.
But do not send offers.
But do not send seller-initiated offers because your time away settings will not apply to those.
Unless it's like what she did was the day before or the day we got back.
Yes.
Or on the plane or something.
On the plane.
In the airport. It was in the airport
yeah.
right before we got on the plane to come back. She sent.
I started sending offers.
What was it, 200
I
or
had
something
like 200 offers to send.
So, and she sent them all while we were sitting there doing nothing anyway.
Yeah.
And that way you're covered because it's not going to, the handling time was going to be that weekend. So we knew we could ship everything that weekend.
So that's a big, big thing to note on time away. You can get yourself in trouble if you're sending seller-initiated offers. So just looking at other platforms, there is not as much flexibility for time away on other platforms. Basically, there is a vacation mode for Mercari, for Poshmark, for Etsy, but all it does is just turn your store off during that time.
It's really just locks the door.
Yeah. So
away mode.
It's not your items aren't getting promoted to people. Mm-hmm. People don't have the option to buy your items. So there is the flexibility to turn your store on, put your store on hold. Also on Facebook Marketplace, there's that option, but there's not the option to continue to make sales. eBay is the only platform that I'm aware of that has that feature. So
I don't think I'd be able to tell on Facebook Marketplace if we had turned the store on or off.
Oh, I'm pretty sure.
That's how often we sell things on Facebook Marketplace.
Other than local pickup, I'm pretty sure like we
off?
are, what's the like shadow band or whatever for any kind of shipping sales. I don't think they're even showing our stuff to people anymore.
I don't know. We'd never, ever.
Mark Zuckerberg personally turned our account off.
Screw you.
All right, so getting back to what sold, let us know in the comments down below if you've ever used away mode, what your preferred way to use it is.
Or if you've got some nifty little trick that we didn't think of.
Yes, or if you do have any other tips or tricks to mitigate any issues with buyers down the pike. Next up was an Apocrypha King James version. This was a 2013, I guess it was a Bible.
I don't know if it was a Bible or...
It was King James version.
It was biblical, but I don't know if it was an actual Bible.
Anyway, so whatever it was, it sold for $12.99. Next up was a one-piece sloth pair of pajamas or costume. This was Nina's, and it sold for $24.99.
It was a slow seller.
Oh my God, I got it. Okay, so quick side note on one-piece items like that. You cannot use the word onesie. Mm-mm. Onesie is copyrighted.
That'll get you Velcroed.
That will get you Velcroed. Onesie is a copyrighted word, and it only applies to Gerber onesies.
Gerber.
It is a Gerber copyrighted word, and you cannot use it on anything except for Gerber onesies. So,
what is that people do? Gerber. Gearspirms.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, it's with this girl with the braces and says it real like Gearspirms.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
All right, never mind.
All right, so next up was two 1997 NASCAR cards. These were Kevin's, and they sold for $5.97.
This is a nice set. Those actually were not mine. I got those at a garage sale.
Oh.
I've never in my life purchased a NASCAR
But we did have some
set.
NASCAR cards that were yours. I know we did.
All the NASCAR cards we have came in things.
Oh, okay.
Came in variety bundles of things. I might have bought a bundle of cards and they were just in there.
Okay. Well,
I've never in my life
bought
a NASCAR card.
Oh, was it that one garage sale where we got all the old cameras and stuff?
No, this was one I went to by myself.
Okay.
At some random place, and I saw them. I was like, ooh. Remember those old racing guides, like dirt track racing guides?
Yeah. It was that sale.
It was the same sale.
Okay. All right, next up was a vintage beaded clown applique patch. It was a big one though. It was like this big. And that came from a garage sale for $1. It sold for $19.99. Next up was a J. Crew white cotton one shoulder swim cover up. We got that at an estate sale for $5 and it sold for $32.99. Next up was a Mattel Hot Wheels Auto Lift Expressway car replacement elevator.
All the Hot Wheels stuff that moves, like battery powered, like this lift, and then the shooters and all that, those all seem to do really well.
They do.
So
yeah.
if you find something that's like battery operated that turns on and off for the Hot Wheels that works, that'll probably sell.
So we got that at a garage sale for $3 and it sold for $22. Next up was a vintage Walls blizzard proof camo insulated
Windows
to the walls.
And
I
it's-
wear
it's-
my coveralls.
and it's thermo camo, so it probably would, the sweat would drip down to your lower regions.
So anyway, we got that at a garage sale for $2.50 and it sold for $74.98. It had some flaws, but we were very thorough with our photos. Next up was a pullover floral. It was like a mustard color. The brand was called Fat Face, which I don't know if I would buy something called Fat Face, but it was really cute actually. It was a cute sweatshirt. We got that at one of the Houston bins for $1.78 and it sold for $34. You found that one.
I can't remember whether I picked it up because the tag looked
Fancy.
good
Yeah.
or the pattern I liked.
Yeah.
It might have
felt
been
really nice.
it might have been a combination of both, but I
Yeah.
think the tag's what really sold me. I saw that it looks very anthropology-ish.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if it was anthropology.
I don't know if it was either, but anytime I find stuff like that, I just hand it to her and then I let her decide if we should get it.
You
or
can
not.
tell if something's anthropology because in the like side tag that has, the RN number and all that kind of stuff, it usually
It'll
says
say,
anthropology on it.
I didn't really look at this one like that. I just pick things up fast and be like, oh, this looks nice, and then throw it to her. If it's clothing.
Next up was a pair of men's Nike Zoom Fly athletic shoes. We got these at a garage sale for $2 and they sold for $33.68. Next up was one of my old dresses. It didn't fit me anymore. This was a Bold Elements, like a burnout bodycon style dress, and that sold for $22.99. Next up was a pair of men's Hurley jeans. These were gifted to us to sell, and they sold for $14. Next up was one of those Steven Erikson paperback fantasy books. These sell. So if you see anything from the Malazan book series by Steven Erikson.
I think that was the last Steven Erikson we had.
We've sold all of them. Yeah.
They're all gone.
This one came from the South Austin bins for $1.03 and it sold for $13.99. And last up was two 1989 Don Russ baseball cards for the players Cal Ripken Jr. and Dave Rigetti. Rigetti? Like spaghetti?
Yeah, Dave Rigetti, hey, spaghetti.
Hey, spaghetti. It's by Tim and Eric. And Eric's like peeking around and he's spaghetti. Let me know if you're a Tim and Eric fan. All right, so that
I wouldn't
sold.
admit that.
This is what I do. I sit on you. All right, so that sold for.
Oh, that was a nice set.
Dr. Steve Brule is going to be after you.
I'm Dr. Steve Brule.
That sold for $4.54. All right, so that wraps up everything from the week that we were on our vacation.
See, that was a really low week.
It was abysmal.
But we were gone and we still
That's true.
sold this many things.
But it was pretty bad, you guys.
It was-
y'all are going to be
it would be bad
sad
if we
for us
were-
with the totals.
If this was how we were going to eat that month, this would be bad.
Yeah. We would be eating
We wouldn't
spaghetti.
be buying eggs, that's for sure. We'd be eating
No.
we'd be eating ramen and maybe tuna fish if we wanted to splurge.
Delish.
I eat tuna and ramen all the time.
Hot tuna. Yuck.
But you need to, if you're going to put the tuna in the ramen, it needs to be beef ramen. Don't put it in the chicken. It's disgusting.
I don't want to talk
You got
about
to put
this.
it in the beef ramen. And some hot pepper flakes.
The people at his office
Chef's kiss.
do not like him.
Chef's
All right.
kiss.
So the total number of sales was 23. The average sale price was $22.54. Our sales totaled $518.41 for a net profit of $286.71. It's pretty sad. Pretty sad. But, you know, we did get to enjoy a very lovely Caribbean vacation.
Yeah, we needed to take a break for a little bit.
We needed a vacation.
We really did.
Yeah. So now we're back, and we're back to work. So,
well, not fully. We got sick immediately. We've been sick for the entire time since then. So we're about to really get back to work.
We either got sick from somebody at an airport or somebody on the cruise ship.
I tend to get sick every trip back.
He got sicker than me. I'm barely sick, but because I got a better constitution than
she got sick the entire Ben's trip, and I didn't get sick. So she's just like blowing smoke.
All right, so if you guys enjoyed this video, let us know by hitting the like button and the subscribe button. And stick around for the next video that's going to pop up on the screen. It is last week's What Sold video, where we shared all of the details about our vacation and about the issue that we had when we were trying to do the return on the vacation. So we think that you guys might enjoy watching that if you haven't seen it yet. And we will catch you guys on the flip side.